Mi melech malchei hamalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, malachei HaShalom, malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni leShalom, malachei HaShalom, malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leShalom, malachei HaShalom, malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei hamalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 14, not 14, 15. Lechuna Ranana. Let us sing to Adonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina l'Adonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Shenu, Nekadma Fana Betoda. Naria, Naria, Letzuri Shenu, Bizmirot Naria lo. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina l'Adonai. Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina, Lechune Ranina l'Adonai. Page 16. Psalm 96. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai baruchu shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato, Sapru v'goyim kevodo, Bechol ha'amim nifleotav, Ki gadol Adonai, Umulal meod, Norahu al kol Elohim, ay, ki kol Elohe ha'amim elilim, v'Adonai shamayim asa, hod v'hadar lefanav, hoz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, havul Adonai mishpechot amim, havul Adonai kavod va'oz, havul Adonai kevod shemo, sehu mincha uvo lehatzrotav, ay, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, chilu mipanav kol haaretz, imru v'goyim Adonai malach, aftikon tevel ba'al timot, Yadinamim b'meisharim, yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, yiram hayam umlo, yalo sadai v'chol asher bo, ay, as you run the new kolat zayar, lifnei Adonai kiva, lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'amim be'emunato, ay, nay, We will now turn, and I'm going to figure out what's going on with this thing here. Keeps diving on me for some reason. Yep. I don't know if I can make it any tighter. Okay. The mic stand's a little loosey-goosey. It's okay. I've got it. I think I've got it now. Turn to page 20 and please rise. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, kol Adonai ba'koach, kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, vayshaber Adonai et arzei halavanon, vayarkidem kemo egel Lebanon vesirion, kemo ven reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, kol Adonai yachil midbar, yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, vayechesof yeharot, uvechalo kulo omer kavod. Adonai lama bu yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et hamo v'shalom. You may be seated, and we turn to page 21 for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'li tehila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikerem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Page 22, last two paragraphs. Yamin usmol tifrotzi, ve'et Adonai ta'aritzi, al yadish ben partzi, v'nismecha v'nagila, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi, please rise. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gams b'simcha ufsohola, toch emunei am segulam, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated, and we will recite in the English on page 23 a psalm for Shabbat, Psalm 92. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp. The thoughtless cannot comprehend. The foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever. Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble. But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant to proclaim, Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw. 4 lines from the bottom of the Hebrew on the same page, starting at Tzadik. Tzadik atamar yifrach, keres balavanon yiske, shetuhim bevet Adonai, bechatrot Eloheinu yafrichu, od yenuvun beseva, deshenim verananim yiu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tsuri tsuri velo avlatabo. Page 24, Psalm 93, in the English. Adonai is sovereign, crowned with splendor. Adonai reigns, robed in strength. You set the earth on a sure foundation. You created a world that stands firm. Your kingdom stands from earliest time. You are eternal. The rivers may rise and rage. The waters may pound and pulsate. The floods may swirl and storm. Yet above the crash of the sea and its mighty breakers is Adonai, our God, supreme. Your decrees, Adonai, never fail. Holiness befits your house for eternity. Adonai liorech yamim. I'll now ask all mourners and those observing Yahrzeit to please rise and join me in the middle of page 24 with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, Bi'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'elam ul'olmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'itadar v'itale v'yitalal shemei kudsha brichu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alama v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. At this point in our service, I'd like to offer a mishaberach for all of those who are ill within our congregational family or extended family, and we will start with Debbie Friedman's mishaberach on the back cover of your Siddur. Mishaberach avotenu Mikor abracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Anybody have any names? Yes. Judy Ayers, Teresa Calla, Audrey Dash, Ross Dutton, Marlene Gunn, Michelle Garuvich, Murray Schaffner, Harleen Schreck, Leslie Schulsinger, Katrina Williams, Mona Bachov, Rob Seltzer, Leibel Ben Margalit, Liebe Shlomit Bat Rachel Bat Margalit, Feivel Shlomo Ben Devora, Israel Ben Etel, Avraham Ben Binyamin. Nisheberach imotenu mekor abracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We'd also like to take this moment in our service to express some gratitude, something that we may be grateful for in the last week or so, or something we're looking forward to. I'll start it off and kind of break the ice. I got to spend my last Sunday with my older grandson, and we did something I'd never done before, and some things that he'd never done before. But one of the things that I do with with this particular grandson, he's 15, he's about 6'2", he's almost my height, and we always go out and have either we go to Ritter's for frozen yogurt, or we'll go to tropical smoothie. So that's a routine. Almost every time we get together, we do that. But afterwards, we went to a VR establishment. You know what that is? It's virtual reality. You put on the gear and you play games. You can do laser tag. They can give you missions. We did an escape room virtually, and we got out. And then there's other, games, flying games and stuff like that you can do. It's pretty cool. We spent the afternoon doing that. So I'm grateful for that time that I had with him, and I'm also grateful that, and if she was here, she would share this as well. That my wife, Maris, she's a physician, and she's finally getting with her. I say it's a new job, but she's been there for 2 years. But they're finally realizing what a talent they have, and she's getting not only the feedback, but she's being tasked to do the things that she's good at, which is very gratifying for her. So those are my two things. Does anybody else have anything? I know we can't do any. Yes. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna make the long march here. I won't make you come to me.
am thankful Argentina beat Holland today.
Oh,
But more importantly, we're going to be grandparents next May.
oh wow. Mazel tov. In May. Cool. Very cool. You have one? Okay.
Marcia. My grandchildren are coming in this week. My one grandson's coming in tomorrow, followed by his girlfriend, and my other grandson and his wife next Thursday are flying in, and we'll be all together this week.
Awesome. That sounds, yeah, I can imagine you can't wait. Just in time for Hanukkah, which we're all looking forward to. Hey, you have something? Toby?
My wife and I are flying to Philadelphia to see my sister. I haven't seen her in about 5 years because of COVID, and her daughter and my new grandniece. So leaving Thursday, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you all for sharing, and those of you who shared and those of you who were too bashful to share, please rise and we'll recite Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, granting us life, sustaining us, and allowing us to reach this day. And we say, Amen. Now we turn to page 28 for the beginning of the Mariv service. Please rise for Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Umavir yom umehevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam tamidim loch aleinu leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, amari v'ravim. Page 29, Ahavat Olam, with constant love. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limata Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu u'vkumeinu Nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha leolam vaed. Ki hem chayenu v'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam balayla, yomam balayla. V'avatecha tasim imenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Page 30, the Shema. El Melech Neman. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We'll read quietly, individually, the second paragraph of the Shema, and then we will join together on the third paragraph on the next page when we're done with the second. Page 31. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם. We continue on page 32 quietly till we get to the box at the bottom of the first paragraph. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה ובני ישראל לכהנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה ליהנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 33, we'll read together in the English. You know what? Let's read the bottom paragraph on page 33 on the right side of the page, just to mix it up a little. O God, you are a consolation to your creatures, for in moments of forgetting, but we call to mind your care, and we are comforted. When we hope no more, a pattern in the snow reminds us of your loving kindness. Your dawns give us confidence, and sleep is a friend. Our sorrow dissipate in the presence of an infant's smile, and old men's words revive our will to wish. Your hints are everywhere, your signals in the most remote of places. You are here. We fail words to say, Ma Tov, how good your breath, our rushing energies, our silences of love. Ushmor tzeitenu vo'enu, l'chaim u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We now turn to page 34 and rise for Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. Middle of page 34. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה קירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יש מי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו Amen. We continue quietly with the Ma'ariv Amidah for Shabbat, which you can find on page 35b and ending on page 38. When you've completed your devotion, you may be seated. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, uyaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. At this point in our service, we turn to page 47 for Vayechulu. Please rise. Vayechulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chol tzevam, vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi melachto asher asa, vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa. Vayevarech Elohim et Yom HaShvi, Vaykadesh oto, Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto, Asher bara Elohim lasot. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim Va'aretz, Magen Avot bidavaro, Mechaye Meitim b'mamaro, Ha'el HaKadosh she'ein kamohu, Hameniach le'amo b'yom Shabbat kodsho, Kivam ratza le'aniach lahem, Kivam ratza le'aniach lahem, Lefanav navod ve'ira, Vach pachad v'nodeh lishmo, Bechol yom tamid me'on habrachot. El ha'odaot Adon shalom, Mekadesh HaShabbat u'mvarech shavi, u'meiniach b'kedusha, le'amedu shnei oneg, zecher lema'aseh v'reishit. We'll now read together in the English on page 48, top of the page. Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest. Instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness, and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so that we might serve you faithfully, lovingly and willingly. Adonai, our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people Israel, who hallow your name, will always find rest on this day. Praised are you, Adonai, who hallows Shabbat. V'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu, b'ahava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha, V'yanuchu v'Yisrael mekadeshei shemecha. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. You may be seated. Middle of page 48, Kaddish Shalom. Yitgadal v'yikara shemei rabba, bi'alma divra kirute, v'yamlich machute, b'chayechon v'mechon v'chayedecho be'Yisrael, b'hagala v'zman kari v'imru, amen, yehi shmei rabba mevarach, le'alam ul'alamei alamaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbahar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kucha b'richu le'ela mincho b'chata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen titkabal tzolotahon uva'utahon dechol Yisrael kodam avahon devishmaya v'imru amen yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen osei shalom v'imromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. So before we get to Kiddush on page 49, I have a few words to share with you about this week's Parsha. First, a summary in Vayishlach, this week's Parsha. God tells Jacob to return home. Worried that his brother Esau will kill him, Jacob divides his clan into two camps, so at least some will survive in case of a fight. Jacob sleeps alone in the desert and is awoken by a being who wrestles him through the night. Jacob survives and is blessed by the man and renamed Israel. Jacob meets his brother, and surprisingly, they embrace. Later, Dinah, Jacob's daughter, is raped by Shechem, who then proposes to Jacob that he marry her. Shimeon and Levi brutally murder Shechem and his clan after they have circumcised themselves. It's part of Jacob's truce with them, if you will. So this kind of gives us a little bit of an idea of the family dynamics here. Rachel has another child whom she and Jacob name Benjamin. Both Rachel and Isaac die and are buried, and the Torah portion ends with a review of all of Isaac's descendants. While there's plenty to discuss in this parsha, I'd like to focus this Shabbat on Jacob's overnight wrestling match. There are many, many interpretations of Jacob's quote-unquote God wrestling. Some commentators maintain that this is an encounter with an angel, and some, especially Rambam, understand Jacob as experiencing some kind of holy vision rather than an actual wrestling match. My approach to some of these interpretations is somewhat different. First, this encounter is described distinctly and concisely, just as Jacob's encounter with the ladder to heaven in last week's parsha was. In Genesis chapter 28, verse 12, it says, he had a dream. A stairway was set on the ground, and its top reached to the heavens. Okay? It actually states in the Torah, he had a dream. This is a dream. This isn't actually happening. In this week's portion, the text is equally direct. Genesis chapter 32, verse 25, Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. There's a Hebrew word for angels. It says a man. Perhaps we were meant to take these verses at face value. If it was a dream or a vision, clearly the text could have indicated such, as it has in various examples throughout the Torah, particularly when describing divine encounters. Commenters will draw on the fact that the man Jacob is wrestling with states at the end of their encounter, your name, quote, your name will no longer be Jacob, but Yisrael, for you have striven with the divine and men and have prevailed. They are assuming that the stranger is referring to himself when he states that Jacob has striven with the divine and men and have prevailed. But Jacob has been wrestling with God all along. Go back to Jacob's response after he awoke and responded to God's blessing during the dream by making an oath to God that he would follow God if God did the things that he promised. And so recently as the night before this wrestling, Jacob wrestled with the promises God had made to him and the fear he felt with the impending reunion with his brother Esau. Okay? He was questioning God. He was saying, if you promised that I was going to, that my children would, or my offspring would be as numerous as the sands on the shores, what's going to happen here? How can I survive this conflict with Esau? And Jacob has been wrestling with men and women all his life. Examples being his father Isaac, his brother Esau, his uncle Laban, his wife Leah, and the list goes on. Jacob's adversary clearly knows Jacob and his story, but Jacob does not recognize this man. This could very well be the celebrity who has walked a long, hard road, not recognizing one of the people watching him from the ditch or from behind. So our wrestler did not need to be a divine being himself to make such a statement. What we should and must take from this encounter is how it speaks to our own struggle through life. In fact, our struggle with each other is just as much a struggle with the divine as it is with humanity. Every time we struggle, every time we feel challenged, every time we feel alone, every time we feel afraid, every time we feel disappointed, every time we feel misunderstood, every time we feel in need, every time we feel blessed, every time we feel loved, every time we feel safe, every time we feel responsibility, every time we feel guilty, and every time we feel vindicated. Every time, all of it, is our struggle not just with each other, not just with ourselves, but with the divine. Shabbat Shalom. We turn to page 49 for Kiddush. Kiddush for Shabbat. Please rise. Bereshut Chaverai. Have we forgotten already? L'chaim? L'chaim? Give a little. Bereshut Chaverai, with your permission, friends. I'm about to start okay, so this is a time. Yeah, let's do it. Okay? Bereshut Chaverai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri agafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. We turn to page 51 for Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula v'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu notei shamayim veyoser haaretz, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. ושמו אחד. You may be seated. So let me check something here. It looks like I don't have all the names for the yard sites this week. that's not it. And I can't find the email, so I don't know if anybody else can. I know we are observing the yard sites of Rita Feinberg, David Harris, and Florence Klosky. Does anybody know anybody else? Your mother was this week. What's her name? Florence Lev. Anyone else? Oh, bless you. Could you You found it? I think I probably. Okay. Yes, Florence Lev, Evelyn Appel, and Thomas Ball. Thank you. All those observing yahrzeit and who are in mourning, please rise and join me in the Kadisha tome on page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alama divara kirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudsha brichu lehela min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alama v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba amin shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. We have a few announcements. Toby, were you supposed to give the announcements or no? Okay. Well, if nobody gave you that assignment, then don't. That's okay. I'll try to remember everything here. Okay. So our usual. Mahjong is on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Am I correct? Nobody in the room knows if I'm correct or not. 1 o'clock. We have a book club that meets on Thursdays. But besides that, and our regular Shabbat services next Shabbat, we also have on the 19th. First night of Hanukkah is the 18th, Sunday night. And our Hanukkah party is on the 19th, Monday the 19th at 6:30. Right? At 6:30 p.m. Be on time. That's when we're serving. Then we will light candles shortly thereafter. Yes? I did not. So thank you. Yes, that's. I knew I was forgetting something. So Sunday. Yes. So Sunday morning, next Sunday morning, not this coming, but the following on the 18th. So the morning of the first night of Hanukkah is the congregational meeting, and it begins at 10. We're full of information here. Yes, I believe it's 10 a.m. Say what? Check your email, right? Check your emails because they're out there, so there are some things that we need a quorum. So we need you to be there. It's on Zoom. The Zoom codes are again. Check your emails. And we have to vote on a number of things. So please make yourself available. and we also have to vote on officers and all kinds of stuff. So please make that. And also adult education on Monday at 7:30 p.m. is our Hebrew Reading 2 class, which rolls into at 8:15 our Torah Reading 101 class. If you can do one, you can do the other. We'll go nice and steady and slow, and I'm told I have the patience of Job, which isn't quite true, but I do have a lot of patience. I have a lot of patience for other people, not for myself. So that's what's going on this week and part of next week. So please join us for any or all of those activities. And we'll now turn to page 53 for Yigdal. יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ויין אל מציאותו, אחד ויין יחיד כי ייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר. יורק גדולתו, מלכותו, שפע נבואתו, נתנו, אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יכל לפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לקט ימים משיחנו, לפדות מחקקת ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Extra credit if you can tell me what Hebrew mistake I made during Yigdal. What Hebrew mistake I made with the Hebrew that's in front of us. Okay? It's something little. But that's because in some Sidurim, that little thing is the way I just recited it. And sometimes, as in there, it's got an extra syllable. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and we hope to see you again in the morning.